The crayon drawing is still on my refrigerator. Stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, labeled Daddy and Me Forever in her 5-year-old handwriting. 27 years later, on Christmas morning, while I stood in my kitchen holding the antique locket that belonged to her late mother, the one I'd wrapped as her special gift, my daughter Avelina was already gone. She'd taken the $22,000 vacation I'd planned for us, my trust, and the last piece of my heart that still believed in family. All she left was a note where my coffee cup should have been. Kelland Marchmont stood in his kitchen at 5:47 a.m. on Christmas Day, staring at the homemade cinnamon rolls he'd started at 3 a.m., Avelina's grandmother's secret recipe, the one she begged for every Christmas since she was 4. The kitchen of his Charleston home smelled like butter and brown sugar, exactly the way 3 generations of Christmas mornings were supposed to smell. But something was wrong. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was surgical. His footsteps echoed through the historic home's hallway as he moved toward the guest suites. "Avelina? Daxon?" His voice cracked. When had he become so fragile? At 64, after building a shipping logistics empire from a single truck, he couldn't understand why his own home suddenly felt like a museum of abandoned love. The first bedroom door stood open. The bed was made with military precision, but Avelina's vintage luggage set, the one that belonged to her mother, was gone. In Daxon's bathroom, the counter where his expensive colognes usually clustered lay bare, except for a single piece of folded paper. Kelland's hands trembled as he unfolded it. Each word felt like another nail in a coffin. "Dad, we've decided to take the Jackson Hole trip without you. The family needs space to bond without complications. We know you'll understand. Your credit card will handle everything fine. We'll be back January 3rd. Don't wait up. Avelina." The paper fluttered to the marble countertop like a white flag of surrender. He stumbled to the living room where 23 wrapped presents waited under a Fraser fir he'd driven to the North Carolina mountains to personally select. Each tag bore his careful handwriting, "To my precious Avelina, for Daxon, the son I always wished for. Garrison and Isadora, grateful you're in our lives." The irony tasted like copper pennies in his mouth. 3 months ago, he'd surprised them with this trip, a $22,000 Christmas miracle for a family struggling after Daxon's import business collapsed. Avelina had sobbed in his arms. "Daddy, you're literally saving our souls," she'd whispered against his shoulder. Now he understood those tears weren't gratitude, they were tears of guilt for what she was already planning. Kelland collapsed into his leather wingback chair, pulling out his phone with numb fingers. Avelina's number rang once before cutting to voicemail. Her recorded voice, so bright, so false, said, "You've reached Avelina. Leave love after the beep." "Avelina, sweetheart, it's Dad. I found your note. I made grandmother's cinnamon rolls. They're getting cold. Your mother's locket is under the tree. Please, just tell me what I did wrong. Whatever it is, I'll fix it. Just please, please don't leave me alone on Christmas. Not today. Not on her anniversary." Daxon's phone, straight to voicemail. Garrison's, disconnected. Isadora's, "The subscriber you're calling is unavailable." They'd coordinated this down to their phone settings. While he'd been placing her mother's angel on top of the tree last night, they were already celebrating without him. Kelland walked to his study, past the wall of family photos that now felt like evidence at a crime scene. His laptop sat open on the mahogany desk, banking page still loaded from last night when he'd transferred extra money to Avelina's account, just in case my princess needs anything special. A new charge appeared, $4,200 at the Four Seasons Jackson Hole, posted at 11:47 p.m. on Christmas Eve. While he'd been lighting a candle at his wife's portrait, they were toasting their escape. his reflection caught in the window. Silver-haired, disheveled, the monogrammed pajamas Avelina gave him last Father's Day hanging loose, looking every minute of his 64 years. Is this what they saw? Not a father who'd driven 18-wheelers through blizzards to build a company so Avelina could attend Yale without loans? Just an old fool with a checkbook and fading memories. The refrigerator hummed behind him. He turned to look at it, covered in Avelina's childhood art, report cards with gold stars, a photo from her wedding where she's dancing with him to butterfly kisses. In the center, that crayon drawing from kindergarten, 2 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow, "Daddy and me forever," in shaky letters. Forever had lasted exactly 27 years, 4 months, and 16 days. He picked up the antique locket from under the tree, his wife Rosemary's, passed down through 5 generations. Inside was a photo of 3-year-old Avelina on Rosemary's lap, both laughing at something off camera. The last photo before the diagnosis. Today was the 15th anniversary of Rosemary's death. Avelina knew, she'd always known, and she'd chosen this day to abandon him.
Before I tell you what Kellen did next, something that would destroy their luxury vacation and teach them the price of cruelty, I need to ask you something. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you'd die for, if you're feeling that familiar ache in your chest right now, please hit subscribe, because a father's love has limits, and Avelina is about to learn where those limits end.
The laptop screen glowed in the darkened study as Kellen's logistics-trained mind kicked into investigation mode. If they wanted to treat him like a problem to be managed, he'd respond with surgical precision. He pulled up Avelina's iCloud account. She'd never changed the password from her childhood pet's name, Magnolia. Her photos synced in real time, and there it was. A selfie from the Four Seasons Jackson Hole. Timestamp 12:23 a.m. 5 smiling faces around champagne. The Instagram caption, "Finally free for real family time. #blessed. #no toxic energy. #living authentically." No toxic energy. Kellen stared at the words until they blurred. He was toxic energy? The man who'd held her through every nightmare after her mother died. His fingers moved to their shared Google Calendar. 3 weeks ago, a private event. Operation Holiday Freedom. Final planning. Attendees, Avelina, Daxon, Garrison, Isadora. Location, his house, his dining room. They'd planned his abandonment while eating at his table. The messaging app on Avelina's old iPad, still logged in, forgotten in the guest room closet, revealed everything. Kellen's stomach churned as he read. December 10th, 11:32 p.m. Avelina. Dad keeps asking about Jackson Hole, getting suspicious. Daxon. Just keep playing Daddy's little princess. 2 more weeks. Isadora. This feels monstrous. Garrison. Isadora, we discussed this. The man's suffocating. Avelina needs to breathe. Avelina. His credit limit is $100K. We're barely scratching it. He spends more on his boat. Kellen had to close the laptop. His chest felt like someone was standing on it. Suffocating? He'd given them space, freedom, everything. When Daxon's import business needed capital, who wrote a $400,000 check? When Garrison needed cardiac surgery, who flew in specialists from Johns Hopkins? When Isadora's mother needed memory care, who found the best facility in Charleston? The phone rang. His wealth advisor, Lucian Fairweather. Kellen, Merry Christmas. Just saw some unusual activity on your accounts. Nearly $15,000 at various Jackson Hole establishments this morning. Everything all right? Kellen's voice came out steadier than expected. Lucian, I need you to do something immediately. Freeze all my credit cards except my personal black card. Now. Kellen, what's happening? I need you to swear an oath to protect me, no matter what. Kellen,
What is happening? My family took a vacation I paid for and left me behind on Christmas morning. They're about to learn that generosity has an off switch. Lucian's silence spoke volumes. They'd worked together 20 years. I'll handle it within the hour. Kelland, I'm deeply sorry. After hanging up, Kelland opened his mahogany filing cabinet. Every receipt, every loan document, every gift carefully cataloged in leather portfolios. Avelina's education, $267,000. The house down payment, $175,000, structured as a legal loan they'd forgotten about. Daxon's business funding, $400,000. Garrison and Isadora's medical bills, $134,000. Over $1 million of love, itemized and filed in portfolios they'd probably burn the moment he died. His phone buzzed. Avelina, finally calling back. He let it ring 4 times before answering. "Hi, Princess." "Daddy!" Her voice cracked with panic, not remorse, not even on today of all days. "Why would I pay for a vacation I'm not invited to?" Silence. Then, carefully, "Daddy, you were invited. We just thought you'd prefer the quiet. You always say how exhausting the holidays are." "I say the traffic is exhausting, Avelina, not my family. Never my family. We have dinner reservations at Couloir. Daxon promised his parents. Daxon can keep his promises with his own credit card. We can't afford—" She stopped herself, but too late. Can't afford it. Then perhaps you should have considered that before abandoning me on Christmas morning, on your mother's anniversary. The silence stretched so long he wondered if she'd hung up. Then, quietly, "That's not fair. What's not fair is planning my abandonment for 3 weeks while spending my money. What's not fair is leaving me alone with her locket on the 15th anniversary of her death." Her tone shifted to manipulation, the little girl voice that used to get extra bedtime stories. "Daddy, we made a mistake. We should have—" "Stop." The word cut through her performance. "I have your iPad. I've read everything. Operation Holiday Freedom, calling me suffocating, joking about my credit limit." More silence. "We're coming home." "Don't. I've already called Thaddeus Greystone. The house loan is being called in. You have 30 days from legal notice." "What? Daddy, you can't—" "Your credit cards are canceled as of noon today. The car leases I co-signed are under review. If you're feeling that knot in your stomach right now, that mixture of heartbreak and justice, please like this video, because Avelina has no idea what storm is coming for her."
Daxon's voice exploded through the phone, all pretense of respect abandoned. "Kelland, you're being irrational. You can't destroy our lives over hurt feelings. I'm calling in legal debts over calculated betrayal." Kelland pulled up his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Let me read you something from December 15th, Daxon. This is you in your group chat. The old man's so desperate for connection, it's pathetic, like watching a dog beg for scraps at his own table." Silence. Then Isadora's voice, shaking. "Mr. Marchmont, we never meant—" "Isadora, December 8th, your message. I can barely look at him anymore knowing what we're planning, but Garrison needs this vacation after his surgery. You weaponized my compassion." Garrison's gruff voice cut in. "Now listen here, Kelland." "No, Garrison, I'm done listening. I listened when you needed $134,000 for cardiac surgery. I listened when you called me the son you never had. I listened when you cried at my dining room table about losing your retirement savings. Was any of it real?" Kelland heard Avelina crying in the background, the same theatrical sobs she'd perfected at Juilliard summer camp. "Here's what's going to happen," Kelland continued, his logistics training taking over, systematic, precise, emotionless. The Four Seasons has been notified that my credit authorization is revoked. Any charges after noon today are your responsibility. We'll be stranded, Avelina wailed. You have Daxon's American Express, the one you used to book your flights while leaving my Tesla in the garage, so I'd know this was deliberate, calculated, cruel. He heard them arguing, voices overlapping in panic. Then Avelina came back on, desperation replacing manipulation. Daddy, please, it's Mom's anniversary. She wouldn't want this. Something inside Kellen turned to ice. Don't you dare invoke her memory. Your mother would be horrified by what you've become.
That's cruel. Cruel is abandoning your father on Christmas morning on the anniversary of his wife's death after taking his money. Cruel is 3 weeks of planning my isolation while smiling at my dinner table. Through their chaos, Kellen heard a knock on their hotel door. Hotel management, no doubt. Dad, they're saying we need to provide new payment or leave immediately. Then provide new payment. With what? You know Daxon's business failed. The business I funded with $400,000? Yes, I remember. I also remember him buying a Porsche 2 weeks after declaring bankruptcy. Daxon grabbed the phone. That was a lease for business image, paid with my money, titled in your name. I have the receipts. You paranoid old... Careful, Daxon. Threats against elderly persons are felonies in Wyoming. Kellen hung up and immediately called his attorney, Thaddeus Greystone, who answered despite it being Christmas. Thaddeus, it's Kellen. I need papers drawn up, calling in Avelina and Daxon's house loan, $175,000 plus interest. Kellen, are you certain? It's Christmas. They abandoned me on Christmas, on Rosemary's anniversary. Draw up the papers. I'll have them ready by tomorrow. Kellen, are you all right? Kellen looked around his study. Maritime Achievement Awards, photos with governors and senators, a letter from the president thanking him for veteran hiring initiatives. All meaningless now. I'm learning the difference between being alone and being abandoned, Thaddeus. One is a choice. The other is a theft. After ending the call, Kellen walked to his home safe and pulled out a folder marked Estate Planning. His will, leaving everything to Avelina, the company, the real estate, the investments, $6.2 million. He fed it page by page into the shredder, watching her inheritance turn into confetti. His phone exploded with texts from Avelina. The hotel is evicting us. This is insane. Daxon is having a panic attack. Garrison's chest pains are back. How can you do this on Mom's anniversary? You're my only child. She would be ashamed of you. That last one made Kellen's hands shake. He typed one response. Your mother loved unconditionally. You love transactionally. That's the difference between her memory and your betrayal. Then he blocked all their numbers. The house felt different now, not empty, but clean. He walked to the kitchen and reheated one of the cinnamon rolls, eating it while looking at Rosemary's portrait. I tried, Rose. I tried to raise her right. I failed. If you've ever discovered that love was just a performance for money, you understand Kellen's pain. Please subscribe and share, because what Kellen discovers next about his daughter's true plans will shatter everything.
December 26th arrived, with Charlton's winter rain and 31 missed calls from blocked numbers. Kellen had slept deeply, the dreamless sleep of a man who'd finally stopped carrying other people's weight. At 9 a.m. sharp, Thaddeus Greystone arrived with a briefcase and 2 cups from the French bakery Rosemary had loved. Kellen, in 15 years of representing you, Thaddeus said, spreading papers across the dining room table, this is the most comprehensive financial separation I've overseen. Kellen signed each document with the steady hand that had once signed million-dollar shipping contracts. Walk me through everything. The house loan, called in with 30 days' notice, legal and binding. They signed it thinking it was a formality. Avelina actually drew hearts around her signature. She never thought I'd enforce it. The credit cards, all authorized users removed as of yesterday. There's $78,000 in outstanding balances that revert to you, but future charges are their responsibility. And the vehicle leases? You co-signed for both. Without your guarantee, the bank will demand immediate refinancing or repossession. Given Daxon's credit score of 472 after the bankruptcy, that means repossession. Telland nodded, remembering how Daxon had begged him to co-sign. Just temporarily until I rebuild, he'd promised. That was 2 years ago. There's more, Thaddeus continued. I found something interesting. 3 years ago, you loaned Garrison $65,000 for an investment opportunity that was supposed to be repaid within 18 months. He said the deal fell through. I investigated. The opportunity was gambling debts to a casino boat in Biloxi. He used your money to pay it off and never invested a cent. Kelland felt something cold settle in his chest. Not anger, but clarity. Document everything. His phone rang. His sister, Serafina, calling from Savannah. Kelland, I just got the most disturbing call from Avelina. She's claiming you've had some sort of breakdown. Let me guess. I'm showing signs of dementia, making irrational financial decisions, need immediate intervention? Serafina's pause was telling. Word for word. How did you know? Because she's following the playbook. Tell me, Serafina, in our conversation last week about maritime regulations, did I seem confused? You were explaining quantum navigation systems. Kelland, what's really happening? Kelland told her everything. By the end, Serafina was crying. Oh, Kelland, after everything you sacrificed for that girl, after Rosemary died. She's calling other relatives, isn't she? She called Cousin Beatrice, Uncle Cornelius, even reached out to your old Navy commanders. She's desperate, Kelland. Good. Desperate people reveal their true character. After hanging up, Kelland opened his laptop to find an email from Avelina with the subject line, Please read Life or Death. Daddy, I know you're hurt. We betrayed you on the worst possible day, but what you're doing now is destroying 5 lives. Daxon is suicidal. He says if we lose the house, he has nothing left. Is that what you want? Garrison's heart can't take this stress. The doctors say another episode could kill him. And me? I'm your daughter, your only child, the little girl you taught to sail in Charlton Harbor, who you sang to sleep after Mom died. We'll pay back everything, I promise. Just give us time. Please, don't do this. I love you, Daddy. That was never a lie. Avelina. Kelland read it twice, noting the manipulation tactics. He forwarded it to Thaddeus with a note, Please retain for documentation of emotional blackmail. Then he composed his reply. Avelina, if Daxon is genuinely suicidal, call 988. If Garrison is having cardiac symptoms, call 911. Regarding repayment, you've had 3 years to repay the house loan. You've made 0 payments. The legal process continues. Kelland. P.S. You say you love me. According to your messages, I am the pathetic old man who won't let go of his dead wife. He hit send, then made an appointment with a therapist who specialized in parental estrangement.
December 28th. Kelland was reviewing security footage when his doorbell camera triggered. Daxon stood on his Charleston porch, disheveled, unshaven, still wearing the designer clothes from the Instagram photos. Kelland activated the intercom without opening the door. Daxon, you're trespassing on private property. Kelland, open this door. We need to talk man to man. We tried that. You called me a pathetic dog begging for scraps. Daxon's face twisted with rage. Open this door, old man, or I swear to God. You'll what? Kelland started recording on his phone. Please, continue your threat. My attorney would love the evidence. Daxon slammed his fist against the 100-year-old oak door. You think you're safe in this big house? Old men living alone have accidents all the time. Falls downstairs, break-ins gone wrong, medication mix-ups. Charleston's a dangerous city. Are you threatening me, Daxon? I'm explaining reality to someone who's lost touch with it. Interesting. Kelland pulled up his security app, showing 8 cameras covering every angle. Everything you just said is being recorded and uploaded to cloud storage. Daxon's face went white. Leave now, or I call 911. You wouldn't. Kelland dialed 911. This is Kelland Marchment at 47 Lagar Street. A man is on my property making threats against my life. I'm 64 years old with video evidence. Daxon ran to his Porsche, peeling out just as sirens became audible. 2 Charleston police units arrived within minutes. Mr. Marchment. The lead officer reviewed the footage on Kelland's phone. Sir, these are credible threats against an elderly person. That's a felony in South Carolina. I want to press charges. By evening, Daxon was in Charleston County Detention Center, and Kelland had upgraded his security system with 24-hour monitoring. The next morning brought a social media assault. Avelina had posted a TikTok that went viral. My father is destroying our family, she sobbed on camera, designer makeup strategically smeared. He's thrown us out, called in loans, all because we wanted one small vacation. He's not well. This isn't the father who raised me. Please, if you know Kelland Marchment, help him. He needs intervention. The comments poured in. Elder abuse is real. Someone should check on him. Poor thing dealing with a narcissistic parent? Maybe it's dementia. This sounds like paranoia. I know Kelland from the yacht club. This doesn't sound right. Kelland screenshot everything, forwarding it to Thaddeus. His lawyer crafted a public response.
Mr. Marchmont has full mental capacity, verified by Dr. Helena Morrison, neurologist, on December 28th. The family abandoned Mr. Marchmont on Christmas Day after accepting $22,000 for a vacation. Security footage of criminal threats has been provided to law enforcement. His phone rang, Dr. Morrison herself. Mr. Marchmont, your cognitive assessment shows exceptional mental acuity, perfect scores across all metrics. Thank you, doctor. Please send the report to my attorney. Mr. Marchmont, what your family is doing constitutes elder abuse. Their attempt to paint you as incompetent while taking your money is criminal. That afternoon, his doorbell rang. Isadora stood alone, looking destroyed. Kelland? Her voice cracked through the intercom. I'm alone. Daxon's in jail. I need to tell you something. Kelland opened the door, but remained in the threshold. I tried to stop them, Isadora whispered. Christmas Eve, I told Garrison this was evil. But Avelina, she threatened us, said if we didn't participate, we'd never see our future grandchildren. She weaponized unborn children. Isadora nodded, tears flowing. She's been planning this for 2 years, Kelland, ever since you mentioned possibly selling the company and retiring. She was terrified you'd spend her inheritance, maybe find someone new to date. The revelation hit like a physical blow. 2 years? She has recordings of you from dinners, edited to make you sound controlling. She consulted lawyers about power of attorney. The Christmas abandonment was supposed to trigger a breakdown they could document. Why tell me this? Because Garrison had another heart episode yesterday, real this time. And lying in that hospital bed, he said we destroyed the only good man who ever helped us. He's right. After she left, Kelland stood in his study looking at the family photos. In every one, he now saw the performance, the calculation, the slow assassination of trust disguised as love. If you've ever discovered that someone's love was just a long con for your money, you understand this pain. Please subscribe and share, because what Avelina does next will show just how far a child will go to destroy the parent who gave them everything. January 2nd arrived with precision. Process servers delivered legal notices to Avelina and Daxon's Mount Pleasant address, the house Kelland had helped them buy. 30 days to pay $175,000 plus interest or face foreclosure.
Kelland watched through his window as Abelina's BMW pulled up, another car he'd bought for her 30th birthday. She emerged, looking like a stranger. Designer clothes replaced with thrift store finds, salon highlights grown out showing premature gray, the pampered Charleston princess now looking like she'd aged 10 years in 10 days. She didn't ring the doorbell. She sat on his porch steps in the 40-degree morning and waited. After an hour, Kelland opened the door. "You'll catch pneumonia." "Maybe that's what I deserve." He let her in, but directed her to the formal parlor, the room for strangers. She noticed. "Dad," she started. "Mr. Marchmont, we're not family anymore." Her face crumpled. "I can't fix this, can I?" "Be specific. What can't you fix? The betrayal? The conspiracy? The attempt to have me declared incompetent? Your husband threatening my life? Which part?" She pulled out a manila envelope with shaking hands. "I brought something you need to see." Inside were text messages from 2 years ago. "Daxon, your dad's getting older. We need to position ourselves for the inheritance." Avelina, "That's morbid. He's only 62. Daxon, "He's worth over $6 million. That's our future." Avelina, "He's my father, not a lottery ticket." Daxon, "Wake up. He controls you with money. Every gift has strings." Avelina, "He's never asked for anything in return." Daxon, "Exactly. He makes you feel indebted. It's manipulation." Kelland read through dozens of messages showing Daxon's gradual manipulation, turning Avelina from reluctant participant to active conspirator. "This doesn't absolve you," Kelland said. "I know, but I wanted you to see how it started, how I went from being your daughter to being this monster. You chose every step." "I did, because believing Daxon meant I didn't have to feel guilty about taking. And guilt is hard, Mr. Marchmont. It requires acknowledging generosity. Entitlement is easier."
They sat in silence. Finally, Avelina spoke again. "The house. We can't pay it. Daxon's in jail with felony charges. I'm making $12 an hour at Target. Garrison and Isadora are moving to a trailer park in Myrtle Beach. And? I'm not asking you to forgive the loan. I'm asking if you'd consider a payment plan. $700 a month for basically forever." Kelland pulled out a contract Thaddeus had prepared. $700 monthly, 5% interest. Miss one payment, everything becomes due immediately. "You had this ready?" "I had several options ready. This was the kindest." Avelina signed without reading. "What about Daxon?" "Daxon threatened my life. That's between him and South Carolina now. He filed for divorce, says I ruined his life by having a psycho father. When you had money, you were perfect together." Avelina stood to leave, then turned back. "Those 3 days in Jackson Hole, it was miserable. Daxon complained constantly. Garrison and Isadora fought. I spent the whole time staring at the mountains, thinking about how you would have loved them, how you would have taken 1,000 photos, made friends with everyone, turned it into magic like you always did, like you did with everything after Mom died." "I would have." "I know. That's the worst part. You would have loved every minute. And we chose this." She gestured at the space between them. Vast, cold, possibly permanent. After she left, Kelland found himself staring at a photo from Avelina's Yale graduation. She wore Rosemary's pearl necklace that day. In the photo, she's looking at him with pure adoration. That girl was gone. Or maybe she'd never existed. February brought unusual cold to Charleston, frost on the palmetto trees, ice on the cobblestones. Kelland had settled into a new routine: morning coffee at the harbor, afternoon therapy with Dr. Edmund Cross.
Evenings at the yacht club with people who valued him for his stories, not his wallet. "You're grieving," Dr. Cross observed during their 10th session. "Not just the betrayal, but the death of who you thought they were." "I keep thinking about teaching her to sail," Kellen admitted. "Every regatta, every trophy, every time she called me her hero. Was any of it real?" "The child's love was real. The adult's choices were also real. Both truths can exist." That night, Kellen received an email that changed everything. From Daxon's divorce attorney. "Mr. Marchmont, your daughter has provided extensive documentation of Daxon Reeves' financial manipulation spanning 3 years. This evidence has been crucial to protecting her interests. Additionally, Ms. Reeves has signed a notarized document forfeiting any claim to your estate, stating, 'I stole enough from my father while he was alive. I won't steal from him in death.' She wanted you to know, but was afraid to tell you herself. Regards, Miranda Ashworth, Esquire." Kellen read it 3 times. Avelina had forfeited $6.2 million in inheritance without being asked. His phone rang at midnight. "Garrison, calling from Myrtle Beach." "Kellen, it's Garrison. I'm sorry to call so late." "What's wrong?" "It's Avelina. She's in the hospital. Suicide attempt. Pills. Isadora found her." The world tilted. Kellen was already grabbing his keys when Garrison continued. "She left a note. It said, 'I killed the only person who ever really loved me. He's still breathing, but I killed him anyway. Just like I killed Mom by making him forget to live.'" The drive to Myrtle Beach took 3 hours through freezing rain. Kellen arrived at Grand Strand Medical as dawn broke gray over the Atlantic. Avelina looked tiny in the hospital bed, dwarfed by machines. Isadora sat beside her, holding her hand. "She didn't want us to call you," Isadora whispered. "Said she'd taken enough." Kellen sat in the visitor's chair, studying his daughter's face. Without makeup, she looked exactly like Rosemary at 32, the year cancer took her. "I failed her," he said quietly. Isadora looked shocked. "How can you say that?" "I gave her everything except the strength to stand on her own. Every problem she faced, I solved with money. I never taught her that love exists without transaction. I created the expectation that I was a resource, not a person." Evelina's eyes opened, focusing slowly on his face. "Dad, I'm here." "You shouldn't be here. I'm toxic. I destroyed us." "You wounded us. There's a difference." "How can you even look at me?" "Because I see 2 people in this bed. The woman who betrayed me and the little girl who used to leave seashells on my pillow because she thought I needed more ocean in my life." Avelina broke completely then, sobbing like the 10-year-old who'd lost her mother. Kellen did something he hadn't done in years. He held her while she cried. "I'm so sorry, Daddy. So sorry." "I know. Can you ever forgive me?" Kellen was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know, but I can try. That's all I can promise, is to try." "I signed away the inheritance." "I know. I'm going to pay back every penny." "I know that too." "And Daxon is gone. The divorce will be final next month." "Good." "Dad, what happens now?" "Now we learn who we are without money between us. We start with truth and see if love can grow from that." "That sounds terrifying." "It is. But it's also the only real thing we've ever tried. Sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to enable someone's destruction, even when it breaks your heart. If you believe in second chances, please subscribe, because the final chapter will show that sometimes endings are really beginnings.
6 months later, the coffee shop on King Street had become their sanctuary, neutral ground where neither past nor future could intrude, only the present moment. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., without fail, Kellen and Avelina met at the small table by the window overlooking the historic market. "I made the full payment this month," Avelina said, sliding a receipt across the worn wooden table, "plus an extra $300 toward principal." Kellen glanced at it, then pushed it back. "I told you,
I don't need to see these anymore. But accountability can exist without constant proof. Trust has to start somewhere. Avelina had transformed. The entitled princess was gone, replaced with someone who worked double shifts at Target and attended therapy 3 times a week. She lived in a studio apartment near the naval base, rode the bus, and had sold everything designer to pay down debt. "I got promoted," she said quietly. "Department manager. It's only $4 more an hour, but it comes with health insurance." "That's wonderful, Avelina, truly." "Is it? I have a Yale degree and I'm managing the home goods section at Target." "You're rebuilding. Every empire starts with a single brick. Even Charleston was built one cobblestone at a time." She smiled, a real smile, unforced and unexpected. Dr. Cross would appreciate that metaphor. "You're seeing Edmund?" "Different therapist, same practice, Dr. James Thornton. He specializes in recovery from affluenza." She laughed, but it wasn't bitter. Apparently, that's a real diagnosis. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Charleston wake up. Tourists photographing Rainbow Row, locals walking dogs, church bells marking the hour. These Saturdays had evolved from obligation to anticipation. "Garrison died yesterday," Avelina said suddenly. "I'm sorry." "Isadora called. The funeral is Tuesday. She wanted to know if you'd come." "Would you want me there?" "I forfeited the right to want things from you." "That's not what I asked." Avelina met his eyes. "Yes, I'd want you there, but only if you choose to be." "I'll think about it." Avelina pulled out a worn notebook. "I've been writing letters. Dr. Thornton suggested it. Apologies to everyone I hurt." "How many?" 93 so far. Every person I borrowed from and never repaid, every relationship I exploited, even my high school sailing coach who tried to teach me about honor." She paused. "I was a monster, Dad. You're lost." "Same thing." "No, monsters don't feel remorse. You're drowning in it." "I deserve to drown." Kellen reached across the table and took her hand, their new ritual of connection. "Nobody deserves to drown. Some people just need to learn to swim in deeper water." Avelina squeezed his hand, then let go. "Daxon got married last week." "Already?" "To her lawyer. Honeymoon in Jackson Hole, ironically. Posted all over Instagram." She shook her head. 3 months after our divorce, he's honeymooning where we abandoned you." "How do you feel?" "Grateful. He's her problem now. I actually sent her a warning letter about his patterns." Avelina shrugged. "She won't listen, but I tried." Kellen's phone buzzed. Serafina texting about Easter dinner. "My sister's having Easter in Savannah. The whole family will be there." Avelina's face went carefully neutral.
She says I can bring a guest. Oh. Kelland watched his daughter struggle not to hope. "Would you like to come? Would they want me there? After the social media posts, the lies?" Serafina believes in redemption. "And you? Do you believe in redemption?" Kelland thought about the last 6 months. Every Saturday coffee, every on-time payment, every therapy session she'd attended, every moment of accountability without excuses. "I believe in earned redemption, and you're earning it." Avelina's eyes filled with tears. "I love you, Dad. The real kind, not the transactional kind. I love you too. Both versions. The one who hurt me and the one who's healing." They finished their coffee in peace, watching Charleston bloom with spring. Azaleas painting the city pink and white. Tourists discovering hidden gardens. Life returning after winter. "Same time next week?" Avelina asked. "Same time next week." As she walked toward the bus stop, she turned back. "Dad, thank you for not giving up on me, for teaching me the difference between being given everything and earning something." "You taught me something too." "What?" "That sometimes the best gift a parent can give is letting their child fail, fall, and find their own way back up. And that love isn't just one thing. It's a choice we make
every Saturday at 10 a.m. Evelina smiled through tears, then disappeared into the King Street crowd. Kellen sat in his car for a moment before driving home. His phone showed messages from his sailing club, his veterans charity board, his new friend Eleanor from the Historical Society. His life had filled with people who valued him for his wisdom, his humor, his presence, not his portfolio. But there would always be space for Evelina, not the entitled princess who'd betrayed him, but the woman she was becoming, someone who understood that love wasn't a transaction, family wasn't a bank, and redemption was earned one Saturday at a time. Spring had come to Charleston, and with it the possibility of new growth from scorched earth. Kelland drove home alone, but not lonely, preparing for a future that looked nothing like the past he'd planned, but might be something better, something real. The house on the gray street no longer echoed with emptiness. It hummed with purpose, with peace, with the quiet satisfaction of a man who'd learned that sometimes love means letting go, and sometimes letting go is what allows love to return, transformed and true. On his refrigerator, between childhood drawings and new photos from his sailing club, hung a recent addition, a simple note in Evelina's handwriting. "Dad, thank you for teaching me that the most valuable inheritance isn't money. It's the strength to stand on my own and the humility to earn my way back. Your daughter, earning that title back, Evelina." Below it, he'd added his own note. "Every Saturday at 10 a.m., we choose each other again." That's what family really means.
Every family has its breaking point, but not every family finds its way back. If this story touched your heart, if it made you think about forgiveness, boundaries, and the price of real love, please subscribe to our channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't destruction, it's reconstruction. It's choosing to rebuild on truth rather than comfortable lies. Thank you for joining Kelland and Evelina on this journey. May you find the courage to set boundaries with those who take you for granted and the wisdom to recognize real love when it finally arrives. Remember, you are not an ATM. You are not a convenience. You are worthy of love that doesn't come with a price tag. Until next time, this is your reminder that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when the masks come off and the money runs out. And sometimes the greatest love is teaching someone to stand on their own, even if it means watching them fall first. Because in the end, love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice we make, one Saturday at a time.